with your parent or with your child to decide which 3 or 4 of these you think is going to be the best one for you, which one shows the most promise, which ones do you want to use when you're learning vocabulary words, math facts, spelling words, any information that you need to remember. So please keep this paper in front of you. Our presentation starts with the slide that a giant part of learning how to learn is learning how to study and learning how to remember information. The only proof of learning that we have is what we remember. So when we're learning, there are actually a couple things going on. We are acquiring the information, and then we have to remember it. Because if you're learning something, then the next day, if you're asked to talk about it or use it somehow, and you can't, then many would argue the learning didn't actually take place because it wasn't remembered. So much of what we're going to be talking about has to do with memory as much as it does the learning itself. For the kids in here, these terms are adult. These are not third grade terms. But when we talk of memory, the human brain has 2 main memory systems. The one that works naturally is called the implicit memory system. And it naturally remembers the things that we experience. So if you're going for a walk on the beach and there's a beautiful sunset, you don't have to go home and study that later on because your brain naturally remembers it because it was something you experienced and it's natural. If you're driving in your car and you hear a song on the radio and it just sticks in your brain, you don't have to go home and rehearse it over and over and over again. It's just part of natural learning. The second kind is called explicit memory, and this deals with specific pieces of information. Facts, ideas, words, other types of information. In this class, we would focus on math facts, spelling words, vocabulary words, science terms, geographic locations. Here, you usually do need to practice and rehearse because this type of information tends not to stick as naturally in our brains as the information that we learn implicitly. In a perfect world, everything that we learn in school would fit nicely with the implicit memory system. We would learn it through experience and we would acquire everything naturally. But unfortunately, most of what we learn has to be studied because it's discrete pieces of information that requires that kind of follow-up and study. Many times, very innocently, if a teacher or parent asks a child to sit down and study something, we naturally assume that the kids know how to do that. Oh, just go sit down and study your math facts, or just go sit down and practice your spelling words. Many times kids don't know how to do that, and a lot of hard-working, well-meaning students struggle in school because they've never learned those specific strategies. And if we can take care of that, then we could lead to a lot of great learning. So at the bottom, you see what I just said, that many hard-working, dedicated kids struggle because they haven't learned the strategies that they need for studying and remembering information. And then the big aha. Those days are about to end with your help. Once we find the strategies that work best for your child, we can put them to use so that this is not an issue for us. Every child will have a repertoire of strategies that he or she can draw from so that anytime we need to learn something new, we can turn to those and it can take us where we want to go.